Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the ESL UK Premiership. I nearly said the NUEL then, it's ingrained in my brain now, but the NUEL are playing as we are into our last best of three of the day. It is the NUEL versus PariaG, and it is 1-1 so far. It has been an intense series, and it's been all about the mid lane.
Yeah, definitely all about the mid lane. In the first game we saw, we saw a lot of impact from Flash with his heavy impact split pushing Fizz, but in the second game we saw the mid lane Aurelia coming out from Dynasty, really shutting down QT Bacon Piggy on that Victor, putting him 0-8 I believe at the very end of the game, so not a great game for him.
I think he might have got one kill in the end,
maybe one,
but not a good game for him. You are definitely right there, and this is still all to play for. As we said, this is a best of three, and this is for their entry into the UK Premiership major season. And it's also going to net them 275 quid, which is not something to be sniffed at for these guys. But we are going to be heading into our final champion select of the day, on the grounds that we don't have a remake, that is. But obviously, thank you, of course, to our wonderful sponsors, AOC, SanDisk, and Need4C. Without those guys, this would not be possible. And our first bans are already being thrown out. And again, Elise and Ari going to be banned. Dynasty, alas, we're not going to be able to see his legendary Ari.
It makes me really sad, because having played against it, it is pretty good. But yeah, it is a shame that he's not going to get that Ari, but I know for a fact that if he did get it, it would almost be a free win for them. So that's how confident I believe in his Ari. He is very, very talented at the champion. It looks like they are going to take that Aurelia away from him as well. He obviously did have a strong performance. However, I do not put that entirely down to him. Hal definitely helped him out in that early game. But we'll see. We'll see now if Hal can again help Dynasty out on whatever he chooses to play. But I do feel that Dynasty needs to be on this carry-centered mid lane champion. I feel like he needs that sort of assassin style of champion to be able to put the team on his back and apply as much pressure as possible.
Yeah, definitely true. I mean, Dynasty, when he gets going, just completely steamrolls the rest of the game. It's down to whether he can get that going. And the Callista going to be the last ban of the game. But I really like, I'm just thinking about it, the Aurelia is a fantastic ban from the side of PariaG, because not only does it ban out Dynasty in the mid lane, it also bans one of Trashcal Billy's favourite champions as well. So it's like a double-edged ban. Well, not double-edged, that would be against themselves as well, but you get what I mean.
Definitely.
But we do see the first pick going to be locked in is the Rek'Sai for that MC Hal jungle. That was a weird sentence. But the Gragas obviously going to be banned away, as well as the Elise. So potentially could see a Nidalee coming through from Nemesis again.
Quite potentially. I mean, I've never actually seen MC Hal play Rek'Sai. I'm not sure how familiar he is with the champion.
I've seen him play it in the past. Right. Not in this tournament specifically, but I have seen him play that Rek'Sai, so it is something that he has experience on. And we see Ewok going to be going with that Thresh, and Flash going to be going with the Shen, which, generally speaking, we've seen Flash play much more carry-based top laners. We've seen him on the Fizz, we've seen him on the Hecarim, but deciding to go for a Shen, so much more defensive.
So I wonder what Billy's going to go into. Early picking a top laner can be fairly detrimental. I mean, Shen, of all the top laners, can be regarded as fairly safe. However, you can pick champions like Gnar into that. We saw how much of a tough time Artorias had when he played Maokai into Gnar, and Shen would be a very similar.
Alco, though. Alco seems to just win every lane regardless of the matchup.
But regardless, that still it definitely offers a lot of options for the side of the NUEL. So we'll have to see whether or not. I assume they will save. Yeah, they are going to save their top lane for a little bit later. See what else gets picked up from PariaG. See if they can synergize their top laner a bit more with what else is picked up. But meanwhile, they are going to pick up the Alistar as well as the Sivir in the bot lane. So a very good engage, especially already suiting up for a nice pick comp coming up from the side of the NUEL.
Incredibly meta as well. All three picks from the NUEL are very, very strong picks currently. And when the Alistar and the Sivir are available and you have two picks, you're going to struggle to find a reason not to pick those champions realistically. It just gives you so much opportunity to not only do incredibly well in lane, but the Sivir ultimate and the Alistar ultimate are just so powerful in those team fights.
Yeah, definitely. So PariaG currently waiting a little bit to see what they're going to pick for their 3rd and 4th picks. A lot of champions are still available. They might go for the Victor again. Obviously, he didn't have a fantastic performance, but I do expect an AD carry. And
I do feel like that was a lot down to how much pressure Hal put on that mid lane. I mean, that was pretty much the definition of camp. Last game, Hal was there a lot of the time. So, unfortunately, Cutie Bacon Piggy did get punished pretty hard. And I'm interested to see what Dynasty picks up. Now that, obviously, there's no Ari, there's no Aurelia. It needs to be something he can carry on. What's still available to him?
Well, I know he plays Lissandra. He might not be a fan of it in the current patch, but I do know that he plays it. I also know that he plays Diana.
I was about to suggest Diana.
Diana is another option, but it's risky picking Diana when it's blind, because she is obviously a melee-based champion, and in terms of trading in lane, she can't really do that until she's level 6. I mean, by all means, she can hit the opponent with her spells, and they do have, the Crescent Moon does have a range, so she can, but she can trade, but it obviously is fairly mana inefficient, so I do wonder whether or not he will go for the Diana. He might, I mean, everyone can play Cho, so he might go for Cho. Always a possibility, but he is hovering over the Lissandra right now, so fortunately my knowledge of the man himself proving to be valuable.
But that is going to be the Rumble hover as well, so going for a very AP heavy composition here. AP in the top and the mid lane. So Dynasty going to be the major AD, or not Dynasty, sorry. Ayuki is going to be the major AD damage dealer for this NUEL lineup. And we'll see what the answer to this Lissandra is from PariaG. It is going to be the Orianna, not even waiting on that one, just locking it in straight away. And interestingly, we're going to see this Lee Sin jungle. Now, it's something that's been popping up a little bit more recently. It was out of the meta for quite a long time, but it started to show itself a little bit when you start to see more jungle bans coming out. Why do you think they picked that one over the Nidalee?
I suppose Nemesis is just a bit more comfortable on the Lee Sin. Perhaps they just want that early AD damage. It can offer arguably a little bit more early game pressure. He is slightly, well, it's debatable whether or not he's stronger in terms of duels, but he's not so reliant on the spear landing. Well, actually, I suppose he is, because he has his Sonic Wave landing.
Different kind of spear.
I suppose it's just going to be a preference pick. They've decided that the Nidalee doesn't work with their style of composition, because Nidalee generally builds full damage, whereas Lee Sin, you can sort of go off tank. He is very a bruiser sort of build. So perhaps that's more what they're after. They don't want to go heavy down their AP build, and they just want more of a bit more of a frontline, possibly.
Yeah,
that could be one way of thinking of it.
I think the ultimate as well is quite important in that you actually have an ultimate. So in that team fight scenario, if you can get that kickoff onto a few people, it can really disrupt the entire enemy team. And with an Orianna to pull them all together, if you can get that kick across the whole lineup, there is a lot of CC to line up.
Yeah, now that you mention that, I have realized that we didn't talk much about the Vayne that was locked in. So having a quick look across the comp, they do have a very good protect the AD carry composition, and in terms of that kick disengage, Lee Sin can offer a fair amount of peel for that Vayne. Like, he has the kick, he has the safeguard available, and he has the slow available from his Tempest Strike. So we will see whether or not they do go for a protect the AD composition. But the one thing I really want to touch on is this mid lane matchup. So last game we saw Cutie Bacon Biggie got camped, right?
Pretty hard. And
Victor has his gravity field. Yeah, so even if he can see it coming, he can put the gravity field down on himself and the two melee champions.
Be relatively safe, and Dynasty is going to be just fine for now.
So there you go, prime example. Jungler warding for the mid laner. He's already got vision for his mid laner to say whether or not Lee Sin is coming into jungle. That's exactly what you want to do if you think you can't apply as much early pressure as the enemy jungler. So nice warding there from Hal. Ward Appreciation Award does in fact go to Hal so far of this game. So yeah, we'll have to see. Meanwhile, we do have another ward coming out from in the mid lane. So nice warding early on. Good job, teams.
Yeah, well done everyone. Round of applause. But do you see MC Hal? While it's not an actual ward, he does take away that Scuttle Crab. So getting some vision for his team around that bottom side of the jungle. Both of these junglers still just sort of hovering around this mid lane. Neither of them wants to go too far away from that mid lane in case the other one is going to camp it.
Yeah, Meanwhile, it should very likely just be a fairly slow start, but I do know that Dynasty likes to... Oh, meanwhile in the bottom lane!
In the bottom lane, we do have a gank coming through from MC Hal. Ewok in a lot of trouble. The exhaust already used. He flashes away. Can he escape this one? The heal comes out. Can MC Hal get the knock-up? He flashes for it. That's going to be the damage coming through, and the first blood comes into the hands of Ayuki, who's going to be more than happy with that 400 gold in his pockets.
So that was a really nice engage. Ooh, Nemesis trying to be a little bit aggressive.
Had that Q landed, that could well have been a kill. But MC Hal going to be able to narrowly avoid that one.
Yeah, so what happened in the bot lane there was, while MC Hal was coming in, we had a flash pulverized from Bears of People too. The cow confusing everybody with his name, but he does in fact flash in, get the knock up, and then knock Ewok back, followed up by the Ching CC from MC Hal. They do actually have to burn 2 flashes to lock down that kill, but they do get a return kill in the end. That's first blood for Ayuki, which is going to do him massive favors. Meanwhile, Pulverize lands onto Pug.
Yeah, Pug could be in trouble here. Gets condemned back, though. Ayuki does, and he's actually trying to return a bit of damage. The Silver Bolt's not quite going to land, although Gold Bolt's on that skin, but not going to be able to finish that one off. And that's going to be just a nice bit of pressure for the NUEL squad in this bottom lane.
I'm thinking about it. Gold bolts don't work against monsters and stuff. It's silver. That's...
Well, it's werewolves specifically that the silver is used for, so only Warwick is going to be too worried about this one. And there's no Warwick on the NUEL lineup, so the Silver Bolt's going to be completely irrelevant this game. Just kidding, they still do a lot of damage. But up in the top lane, Nemesis looking for a gank onto Trash Club Billy, who I think is suspecting this might be coming, as he is just very nervously staying back away from that minion.
Ward is down, so he's at a little bit of danger. But Dynasty now level 6. This could be where the mid lane gets a little bit more exciting. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Ayuki and Bears just sitting in the brush, waiting for PariaG to overextend.
Pretending they've based.
Pretending they've based. They should shove up. They should walk straight into this trap.
In theory, unless they go for the base as well. Can Bears get the combo off onto
Pug?
They're looking for it. They're going to get the auto attack down. But Hal is here. Gets the knock up. There's the red buff. One more attack will finish Pug off. Can they finish it? Yes, they can. The Prey Seeker comes through. Now, Ewok is in a lot of trouble. His flash is down. As you say, the Chilling Smite is there. The Boomerang Blade finishes that one off. And Ayuki gets his second kill of the game. But up in the top lane, Flash is in a lot of trouble. Billy is going for the 1v2. Can he finish any of them off? Nemesis trying to juke away through this brush. And Trash Club Billy is getting caught on a wild goose chase. The Stand United comes through onto Nemesis. Flash having to dash away. Flash and dash all over the shop on this one. But Billy can't quite secure the kills. But even still, 2v1.
Yeah, so that all started off with a mass amount of aggression in the bottom lane. They sat in the bush, waiting for them to come. You can see it looks like they're about to escape a house, waiting for them on the other side. Really nice intercept from Hal. Nice knockup from Bears of People too. And beautiful Prey Seeker coming out from Hal to pick up that kill. With Ewok's flash down, that's a nice pickup. Another kill for Ayuki. So meanwhile in the top lane, they try to go for a gank on Billy, but he just sits on top of the equalizer, forces them both back, gets the flash out of Flash, and forces Nemesis back. The ult from a flash does successfully keep him alive, but nevertheless, that's really well played by Billy to be able to turn around the gank like that. So overall, they pick up the Drake, and now they've already got a 2,000 goal lead in this early game, which is going to do them ridiculously massive favors moving on into the mid.
And this is the most convincing game we've seen from the NUEL so far today. The first one, obviously, they didn't look particularly strong. PariaG managed to take that one pretty handedly. And then the second game, it was very, very slow, and the NUEL seemed to just take it by millimeter by millimeter. They managed to slowly but surely eke out a victory, and now this game, they seem to have put their foot on the pedal as they are already 2,000 gold ahead, as you say. And Hal just going to be hovering around this bottom lane, trying to get as much CS as he can. The Condemn misclicked onto a minion there, and the mastery emote, like, yeah, I'm totally good at Vayne, I swear. I swear it was a misclick, but he is going to be able to just push these minions underneath the tower, but Ayuki should be able to get there in time to grab them.
Yeah, he's now going to come back into lane with a BF sword and pickaxe, so he's well on his way to his Infinity Edge. Definitely in a good spot for that Sivir. If you ever get a lead onto that Vayne, that's always a massive advantage. Especially now with her flash down, they might look to apply even more pressure from the side of Hal. but we'll see where that pressure goes. Top lane Flash is also down, and the ultimate isn't available from Flash. Thinking about it, in that bottom gank, if the gank wasn't happening at the same time top, perhaps Flash could have offered some kind of assistance for the gank that was going on bot, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. And meanwhile, gank in the top.
There is indeed, as Billy gets caught up by the hook, but there's very little damage here. The equalizer comes through. Ewok stood on this one. He's cooking his health bar down, but the flash play doesn't land, and here comes the rest of the NUEL as Ewok's health bar is burnt down. Dynasty picking that one up, using that Glacial Tomb onto Flash, who's going to go down and give a kill to Billy. In the meantime, in the bottom lane, Pug is in a lot of trouble as Bears is more than happy to tank the tower, but he may be going down here. The Silver Bolts come through, and Pug manages to get one for himself. Ayuki has no summoners left, and Nemesis manages to pick up a double kill.
Yeah, so fights going across all along the map there. Initially, we see that gank again coming out onto Tragical Billy in the top lane. He responds very, very patiently, very, very well. We can see here he's just trading around, getting a few bits of poke, trying to harass Flash down, but Ewok comes in. Initially starts with the Flay Hook, and they chain their CC together. You can see now Billy getting locked down, but he throws the Equalizer, and it scares them off. They don't want to walk over it because they don't want to start into a fight with Billy. Ewok then flashes to try and get the Flay, but that flashes basically commits him to his own death. Dynasty then is able to pick up the kill onto Ewok, saves his ultimate for Flash, and able to pick that up. Meanwhile, while all of that is happening, they go for a dive in the bottom lane. Pug baits them out with the heal, dashes out of all of the skill shots from Mayuki, and because they overcommit again, very similar to the first game, they trade back a double kill. So 2 for 2 on both sides of the map. Overall, I would give that advantage over to NUEL because they were able to pick up a tower in the top lane, snowballing that to a 2,500 gold lead.
Yeah, and across the board as well, the NUEL seem to be eking out these small leads. Basically, the only lead that PariaG have currently is in this jungle. 2-0-0 on Nemesis's Lee Sin. Let's see if he can turn this into a victory for them, if he can get this snowballing in their favor. Obviously, Lee Sin is a champion that, if you can get it rolling, will run away with the game. We'll see if he's going to be able to do that. A nice trade there from Ayuki in the bottom lane. Spell shields the death sentence and just throwing out so much pressure on this Sivir.
Yeah, that is thanks to the item advantage. He's nearly completed his Infinity Edge now. We do see Nemesis hanging around, perhaps looking for a bit of a gank in the bottom lane. And meanwhile, Dynasty now with the blue buff and slight item advantage. But the thing is, Ewok's still level 5 compared to the level 7 of Ayuki and level 6. He does just hit that level 6 mark, so with Nemesis looking at the background, they might be looking to start something.
They might well indeed, as we see MC Hal going towards his red buff. He's going to be hovering around this bottom side of the map. Everybody looking towards this fight in the bottom lane as Bears gets the knock up onto Ewok, but they're immediately just going to disengage away from this one. Even with Nemesis there, they don't want to commit to the fight.
Yeah, that's probably for the best. Unfortunately, Nemesis misses a few of his skill shots. The combo gets used from Bears of people too, and they just don't want to risk it. They don't have any vision on Hal. It was probably the smart decision. He was hanging around the bot side, as you rightly said, and they just decided to back off. So while Billy...
I love how Billy's just gone mid now. He's like, I don't want to go top anymore.
Yeah, well, with the lane quite far pushed up, he decided the best thing to do would be to just pick up free farmers, as it does appear that Dynasty's gone missing. Oh, he's in the bot lane. That's where he is. He's sitting on top of Hal. That's why I can't see him.
Waiting for a long time for this opportunity. Going to be able to step into this bottom lane brush, and Pug is in a lot of trouble. Frozen in midair. He gets taken down, and that is going to be a double kill coming across to Ayuki. That's going to be a bottom lane tower, and this is potentially a dragon off the back of it as well. 35 seconds till that one spawns.
So this is something that Dynasty loves to do. He loves to roam around the map. You can see this is one of the reasons why his KD on Ahri is so big. It's not because he beats his opponent, it's because he wins every other lane by the roams that he gets. He manages to roam down to the bot lane. That's why we saw Billy in the mid lane covering the lane with nothing really to lose in the top. It was worthwhile moving Billy into the mid, taking the farm, preventing that tower from being pressured. Dynasty moves around to the bot and using the masses of crowd control that he had, pick up a nice and easy double kill. So this should be a fairly uncontested Drake, and it will be their second Drake of the game.
Certainly will, and this is starting to look the same as last game. The NUEL managed to get the Drake advantage last time, but Billy could be in trouble. There are 3 people up in this top lane. They're going to be looking to try and hook him in. Are they going to be able to grab it? The equalizer comes out. It's going to zone them away. away a little bit, and he runs around the other direction, flashes away from the Shadow Dash. Can he escape this one, though? Now that his flash is on cooldown, he could be in trouble. There's the flash from Nemesis, who's going to get onto him. That's going to be the slow from the Electro Harpoon, and his team is running to meet him, but they seem to have given up when they've reached the middle lane, and Billy is going to be going down. Can they get anything off the back of this one? Ewok takes a bit of damage, but forces the flash out of Ayuki. That is just going to be a 1-for-0 in favour of PariaG, but the Dragon goes in favour of the NUEL.
Yeah, because while all of that was happening in the top half of the map, they actually forced an engage onto the middle, and they tried to get a pick onto Cutie Bacon. You can see that his flash is actually down, and that's because Dynasty engaged onto him in the middle lane. With the numbers advantage that they had, they did try to pick up a kill, try and trade it 1-for-1, rather than help Billy, but unfortunately, Bacon manages to escape, and they do pick up a kill onto Billy, so not too much of a loss. He had no real shutdown gold, and the lane was already pushing against him, so it's not the end of the world. And the kill once again went on to Lee Sin, which at this point is not the target that you really wanted on. So overall, not that bad, but still, a kill is a kill, so that is in the favour of PariaG.
Certainly is. A kill is a kill is a kill is a kill, as they say. Well, Hal going to be able to clear away that vision in the mid lane brush, and he's heading towards Cutie Bacon Picky. He knew he was there. That seems very overzealous to stay. Ewok going to be able to get him away on that dark passage, though.
Yeah, that does appear to be. Have a quick look at the stats on screen. We do see a bit of aggression in bot, but not much going to make of that. Has actually has a 5.3 KDA or above on 5 different top lane champions, so very familiar with the top lane. As we've been hyping Billy up all throughout this tournament, we say he's a very well-versed top laner, very familiar with a range of different champions, and Aurelia being one of his favourite ones. Meanwhile, in the mid, it does look like Hal hanging around for a bit of aggression on the Piggy.
Certainly are, and all 5 NUEL members heading towards this mid lane now. This could spell disaster for PariaG as they pressure in towards this tower. Nemesis may have been caught, throws out the ward, doesn't actually jump to it as Bears decides he wants to take a couple of tower shots, and actually is in a little bit of trouble, taking a lot of damage. Does have that unbreakable will available should he need to use it, but the hook going to fall wide. And the NUEL just going to be able to take a free objective as MC Hal goes very deep for this one. The equalizer onto both carries, though, who get locked up. The shockwave is there, but MC Hal may well be going down as Splash gets taken incredibly low. Nobody from PariaG. Why did I say that? 3 people have gone down. But Nemesis is going to be following shortly as the double kill comes through for Ayuki. Nemesis Dynasty trying to escape from this one. I'm tripping over my words all over the place, but the NUEL certainly aren't tripping as they take down this middle lane tower.
Yeah, this is going to give them a massive lead now. The key thing about this is Hal goes in, baits the ultimate out onto Orianna, and meanwhile, look at that equalizer, and then the follow-up from Dynasty. He gets a beautiful 3-man stun into a 2-man ultimate. The shockwave from Orianna doesn't manage to pick up onto anyone, and he kills the backline right out. The only people that NUEL actually lose is their jungler, while Ayuki is getting free damage onto the rest of the game. Trashka Billy gets a very clutch heal from Ayuki, enabling a double kill, and Dynasty with the very clutch claw coming out, keeping him alive. So very nice team fight from the NUEL. Very well played by Dynasty. Like, just beautiful performance from them all around.
Yeah, and I really feel like the longer this series has gone on, the more the NUEL have sort of built up this teamwork, and you can see this team really starting to know exactly how they want to play. They seem to have built up more of a game plan and know each other better as players and know how well everyone will react to each other. And we can see that as the gold lead has started to really skyrocket in their favour. Almost 9,000 gold ahead, just over 8 in favour of them, as MC Hal is going to get caught up by a death sentence, but not really going to be much follow-up from Ewok there, who is actually going to get knocked up. I don't think he thought Hal was still there, but no real follow-up. Neither team wanting to commit to this just yet. Obviously, Sivir down in this bottom lane, but it looks like the NUEL are going to go for it anyway. That's going to be Ewok melted down, and just an easy pickup for the NUEL.
Yeah, he was caught slightly out of position there. Obviously, he thought that he could get out with the support of his team, but what he didn't realize is that his team ditched him. The equalizer dropped on top of their face, and then they realized, yeah, alright, I'm out. He's all yours. So they left Ewok to his death. It was a little bit of an overkill. They didn't end up using 2 ultimates to take him out. But I guess they were still mad over the Bard game that he had earlier. So I guess they were putting him in his place, really shutting him up, as a Bard likes to vocally express himself.
He certainly does, and so far, not having a fantastic game. 1-5-1 on Ewok, 0-4-3 on Pug. So this bottom lane just really... I mean, you can see where the focus has been for the NUEL in the scores. You can see the 7 kills on Ayuki. He's stepping up to the plate this game. And each and every game, we're seeing a different member of the NUEL stepping up to the plate to try and carry their team. And we've seen Billy do it in the past. We've seen Dynasty do it. And now we're seeing Ayuki be the one to carry the squadron as they head towards the middle later stages of the game. A decent gold lead built up for themselves and a decent spread of the gold across the team as well.
Yeah, you can see that I'm very impressed with the NUEL. Like, originally this is the first combined NUEL roster. It is mostly 3 knots and a pair, I would argue. They do have the vast majority of a Nottingham roster, but nevertheless, it's still a nice combination to see from NUEL. And you can see the potential of players that come out from this University Esports League. There are some very talented individuals and definitely high carry threat from the side of from the NUEL. But the most important thing this game is that Dynasty, as I say that, bit of a gank coming in the bottom.
Certainly see the equalizer coming through onto Pug, and there's nowhere for him to run. Has to flash away from this one as Thresh is dropped immediately. Hal is going to follow though, but Pug is going to get caught. This taunt onto Dynasty though will keep Pug alive, and he manages to trade one for himself. Flash just about getting away everybody on PariaG on flashing health bars, and despite it being a 2-for-2, the NUEL are going to be able to take an objective.
Yeah, they do pick up that tower, which means that they overall come out ahead. You can see initially the equalizer comes down onto 2. iPug manages to flash away, but they pick up the initial kill onto Ewok. Here, a beautiful 3-man ultimate manages to help turn the fight around in their favor. They do almost, I believe, pick up a kill onto Pug, or does he just manage to get away? He does, in fact. We'll see how close it is, but you can see that Dynasty gets the kill onto Nemesis, the return kill. So very nicely done for Dynasty to bring someone down with him while he gets stuck under the tower with his Zhonya's. So a bit of an overzealous dive. I don't think they needed to go that deep. They did get the kill onto Ewok, but I guess momentum took them, and the moment they got 1 kill, they just got a bit carried away and kept on going.
Yeah, and that certainly can happen to the best of us when you're going in those team fights. And we're going to start to see the NUEL get some vision around this Baron area, and this is the kind of time that we've been seeing most teams trying to get that vision. Obviously, I feel like earlier Barons have started to become the norm now across all regions, really. We're seeing these 24-minute Barons generally seem to be a very popular choice if you are managing to pull ahead of your opponents, and a 9,500 gold lead is not something to be sniffed at, as MC Hal finds himself in a 2v1, but it's not a 2v1 for long as Dynasty enters the fray, jumps over the wall with that Claw of Doom. But he's not going to be able to find anyone with his ultimate just yet. And Billy arriving in the top lane as well.
A bit of an interesting pickup from Dynasty. He's decided to go for the Morellonomicon as well as Boots of Lucidity. I guess that's just something that really suits him and he enjoys doing. A fairly unique build, but I guess it's working out for him. He's got a wonderful 316 score, so he's definitely having a good game himself. But interestingly about this game, as they siege onto the top tower, they decided not to camp Dynasty. Oh, Shockwave!
Oh, beautiful flash from Ayuki. Very fast fingers on that Sivir. Obviously, the spell shield must have been on cooldown. He's going to be able to live through that ultimate, but without the Shockwave, this could well be a tower going down for PariaG. Shadow Dash having to be used defensively there by Flash just to escape this one. And honestly, I really feel like a huge part of this game is just the fact that Flash is on this Shen. He really can't be that carry that his team needs him to be.
Yeah, in every other game, Flash has just had a massive impact. His teleports have always been impactful, but we haven't actually seen him impact the bottom lane once. He hasn't used his ultimate to dive down to the bot lane to make a play. He hasn't used his teleport to come down to the bot lane to make a play. It's a real shame that meanwhile, hook lands onto Hal, but
Ewok with a beautiful hook there, but not really a hook they can follow up on. He's just practicing his aim clearly, making sure that he's still got it. Apparently he does, so he's going to be happy with that one, even if they are behind. He's going to be able to go, yeah, I can land death sentences.
Yeah, so from my point that I was trying to make earlier is that in the second game, we saw that Dynasty was playing Aurelia. That is the type of champion that needs to snowball, and the team recognized that, so they applied a lot of pressure mid. This game, Dynasty realized that he doesn't need to snowball his lane as long as he doesn't lose it, and as long as he gets those roams off. So as long as he has superior vision control, then he can definitely impact the game. Meanwhile, engage from Hal.
Oh, Ewok, it is not going well for you, my friend, as you get taken out yet again in this jungle, and Nemesis is going to try and save his teammate, but it is not going to work out for him. He gets taken down as well, and with those 2 kills, with the jungler and the support down, I don't really see any way that the NUEL don't take this Baron.
Yeah, it does look like they've caught Ewok out again over and over and over. But it's another advantage game for the NUEL. Nice use of the equalizer and very well played by Dynasty to flash over without any fear. He didn't care if the rest of his team was there. He just flashed in, threw the ultimate down, and enabled their team to pick up an uncontested Baron.
Indeed they did. In the meantime, we do see Flash pushing away in this bottom lane, but not really able to achieve too much down there. And the Dragon, going to be spawning in just 1 minute and 20 seconds. MC Hal trying to deny the base from Flash, but he's not going to be able to find him. And now we see him just clearing out these minions. Trashcal Billy going to arrive in this bottom lane as well. And the NUEL just generally looking incredibly strong this game. They're certainly looking like they may have this one in the bag. 12,000 gold, 17 to 6. 6 towers to 1 and 3 dragons to 0. None of those are really statistics that PariaG want to be looking at right now. And they might just be closing their eyes and praying that it all goes away, because the NUEL are on form right now. And Bears of People 2 is a massive, massive cow.
Yeah, what I expect them to do now is to possibly pick up that 4th straight to enable them to siege a tiny bit better. Maybe, or they might just decide, no, we've got Baron, let's just push mid. They don't need to bother with the 4th straight. They're going to make the maximum use out of the small amount of time that they have and siege up the mid. At this point, they've got such a horrendously massive gold lead that as long as they play the team fights well, there's no reason why they shouldn't be able to close this game out.
Yeah, absolutely. We can see all of this time that everybody is pushing this mid lane. Billy is down in the bottom lane with those Baron up minions. He's going to be able to pressure onto this bottom lane tower. And with this pressure all the way across the map, it's starting to look pretty scary for PariaG. This could well be a dive, in fact, coming out as Nemesis comes behind the team, but he's going to be focused down. An equalizer onto 2 in the backline as MC Hal tries to finish off QT Bacon Piggy, who's going to be able to flash away from this one, but now Ewok is going to be the focus target. He gets away, and a condemn onto Bears is going to deny the follow-up, but that is going to be the middle lane inhibitor as Ewok flashes but misses the death sentence, and now the NUEL head to the bottom lane.
Yeah, it does appear that way. So the main thing about that play there was the fact that Lee Sin tried to flank in from behind, and he tried to get the kickoff onto Ayuki, but he spell shielded it perfectly. So no one's actually managed to go down. A lot of summoners burn, but that means a lot of ultimates still up from the side of the NUEL, especially the one from Dynasty. That's the key one, but they have decided to just back off. They are going to take the blue buff as well as the Drake. So we'll see what they choose to do after they take the Drake. I expect them to just go back, maybe buy a few extra items. I believe they are sitting on a handful of gold right now. Actually, yeah, they are sitting on a fair amount of gold right now. So they'll probably go back, buy some stuff, and then I expect them to then put Trash Billy in some sort of split pushing role. Meanwhile, in the mid,
yeah, we have Bears of People 2 in a 2v1 at the back there as Sivir arrives and picks up some kills. Dynasty does go down for the trouble, but Trash Billy is teleporting in. He'll have those home guards. No, he won't, actually. I'm a complete liar, but QT Bacon Piggy could be in trouble as the flash comes out of Ayuki, picks up that kill onto the Orianna, and that is a 3-for-1 in favor of the NUEL.
Oh, and it does look like the surrender's coming out.
Surrender comes out from direct to camera. At the end of the game, when there's a surrender, it just goes crazy. But that is the end of the stream. The NUEL take it 2-1, and I really feel like that series was just kind of the definition of momentum. We saw PariaG do so well in that first game, and it was a hard-fought battle for the NUEL in the second one. But then the third game, PariaG just weren't there at all.
Yeah, definitely. We could see that all of their focus this game was to focus on the bot lane. Now, if the top lane had been slightly more even, then Flash on Shen could have helped them out in the bot lane a lot more. If Nemesis had done the same thing, focused on getting vision in the bottom half of the jungle, counter-ganking all of Hal's aggression, then that definitely could have worked out in their favor, but that's not what happened. The early gank top, forcing the Shen ult to be used in the top lane and not getting anything out of it basically meant that all pressure bot was lost. And the moment that Vayne fell behind, she was never able to come back into the game. 10-1-7 on Ayuki, snowballing from that early lead that he managed to get. So very well played from the side from the NUEL. I believe a lot of people didn't have many expectations, but they have definitely surprised all the non-believers and put on a fantastic show for us today. And
proved that they did deserve that number 2 seed that we saw them achieve. But congratulations to the NUEL, they have made it through. They've grabbed that £275 and their spot in the UK Premiership. Thank you again to all of our wonderful sponsors, AOC Monitors, SanDisk and Need for Seat. You guys are amazing and we couldn't be doing it without you. But before we go, we do have a trailer to show you for the All Work All Play ESL movie that is going to be shown for one day only, so make sure you grab your tickets. But this is going to be me and Vedia signing off. If you've enjoyed the gas, make sure you follow us on social media. Make sure you follow ESL UK to be kept up to date on the UK Premiership. But I will be seeing you next week with Excoundrel, I believe, as we head into the lower bracket of our promotional tournament. But from me and Vedius, it is goodbye.
It's like nothing you'll ever experience.